Welcome back to another 4chan deep dive. We all know why we're here, so without any preamble, let's just get right into our 9th deep dive. Enjoy. Starting off strong with our first post of the night, we have a terrifying story that took place deep in the farmland of Wisconsin. 1991 was about 10 years old, poor as dirt, and lived out on a farm. By poor as dirt, I mean we literally had nothing. No TV, no cameras, and besides a radio, nothing. We lived in a really rural area in the northernmost part of Wisconsin, no neighbors for more than a few miles. At home alone because my mom and dad needed to go into town to get some supplies. Listening to some shit I can't remember when someone bangs on the door. Strange, since we normally don't get people out here. Go to the door. There's a fucking crack in the door. Motherfucker hit it so hard there was a crack in it. Peek through the crack to ask him what was going on. He was naked and covered in blood. Pick related. Ask him what the fuck he was doing on our doorstep. I got in a car accident. Can you let me in to call someone to pick me up? The dude's tone was flat, kinda like how a computer sounds when it speaks. Tell him to get the fuck out before I go all mafia on his ass. He smiles and says that I won't regret it if I let him in. Get freaked the fuck out and run upstairs to get my dad's shotgun. I was a small kid back then, so it was heavy to hold and almost knocked me flat when I first shot it. Motherfucker was reaching through the crack to try and get in. Shoots his ass. I knew I hit him because he pulled the fuck back and started running. Looked out the crack and got ready to shoot him again when I saw him running into the woods on 4 fucking legs. Not how a person walks or crawls on 4 legs. This dude was like a fucking bear or something by how he ran. Too scared to shoot him again. Parents come home to me crying in the corner with the gun next to me. Dad freaks the fuck out when I tell him what happened. He said I can have some of the ice cream he got me for while he went out and tried to look for the dude. Came back the next day and immediately called my uncle who lived in Milwaukee to come and pick me up. The night before my uncle picked me up, I was doing my chores and checking on the cows. The same dude was in the barn, eating one of the stillborn calves. Nope. Go back to the house and tell my dad that some guy was helping himself to a burger in our barn. Goes out there with the gun and threatens to skin the dude if he comes back. The guy just laughs and walks off into the woods. Never came back. I can't even begin to fathom the absolute terror he must have felt when a seemingly non-human man decided to pick his farm as his stomping grounds. With no pictures or any proof, it's hard to say whether or not this actually happened, but most green texts boil down to a 50-50 split. If real, maybe it wasn't even a creature, but rather someone on who knows what attempting a break-in. Truthfully, there are a lot of possibilities here, especially when this comes from the perspective of someone who is very young, which is the case here. Regardless if this is real or not, it is absolutely bone-chilling and a great reminder to never trust strangers. You never know what dark secret they may be hiding. For our second post of the night, we have somebody wondering about the origins of a really freaky looking puppet. Pick related, and this might be long, sorry about that. My friend has owned this mysterious thing for about 5 years now after his dad purchased it from a man in a bar. The man claims his dad made Joking Joey before he passed away, and the father voiced it himself. My friend has never questioned it, and while he finds it weird and mysterious, it's never really been an issue or something for him to look into further. A couple of other friends and I decided to research and found out a couple of interesting things. A search for Joking Joey on the internet returns nothing except for a single YouTube video which shows the puppet in action.
Ladies and gentlemen, come here. The police stopped me today, in the car. He said, you came around that bend very quick. I said, I know. It said dangerous, and I wanted to go around as quick as I could. I mean, what sort of a question is that? He said you were doing 80 miles an hour. I said I've only been in the car 20 minutes.
This puppet shown in the video appears to be in a different box to the one owned by my friend, and the puppet we have is wearing different clothes and the scenery has been rearranged, which is told by marks on the inside of the box, like things have been ripped up and moved. Could have easily been a reboxing issue, but that brings the question of why he's been reboxed. A look into www.bigboystoys.com's channel shows a video entitled On the News, so we watched it and figured out the man Martin Fillery is definitely connected to Joking Joey in some way or another, if he is the owner of bigboystoys.com.
A man from Bristol has gone car mad. He's decided to make a film about famous vehicles only seen in the movies.
Martin Fillery started videoing today and invited our cameras along to see some of the well-known cars in action.
After attempting to reach out to Martin on Facebook and my messages not going through at all, I decided to Google him and discovered that as of August 2017, he has been imprisoned for running an underground cannabis facility in a nuclear bunker involving slave labor. This is pretty much all of it on the research front, but other details include an empath friend of mine who is a psychic being able to confirm that Joey, or the box, has a spirit attached to it. We also turned him on last night for the first time in several months, and a few seconds into a track that has never been heard before by our friend who owns him, Joey shut off and then refused to work again. Now, after reading this crazy story, I decided to look into this unsettling doll and everything surrounding it myself to see if I could find anything else, and to confirm or deny any of the points that were said. As for that Big Boys Toys YouTube channel, it has since been renamed to Straight Jacket Spaceman, and is active as of just 7 months ago. As for the Martin Fillery portion, he had a massive collection of various merchandise, and was even written about before because of how rare some of what he had was. He also is undoubtedly connected to the Straight Jacket Spaceman channel, but it's not 100% clear exactly how. He is directly featured in a multitude of videos on the channel, but being just a collector, I didn't originally think that he was a legitimate part of the company, and with him not necessarily being featured in all the videos, I just figured he knew this company somehow and was a frequent buyer. However, I also found some videos of what is definitely him actually advertising the selling of some of these collectibles, so it looks like he really was a direct part of it after all.
Right, well this is Kermit the Frog, as he's just about to go on eBay. He's made of proper Antron fleece, so that means that you don't really get seams all over him.
As crazy as the claim sounded, Martin was actually imprisoned for running a cannabis operation in an abandoned Cold War nuclear bunker. Insane. Even more important to mention is that the sentence was not 18 years. That was the combined sentence for all 3 of the people involved that were arrested. Martin himself actually got 7 years, which means that by today, he would have been already out. If you check back on the YouTube channel, you'll actually notice a 5-year absence of videos. While that doesn't totally add up with the 7-year sentence, it did pick up again right precisely at the perfect time for him to get out. So it looks like he probably is in control of this channel after all. That just leaves one more question then, and that is, well, where did the doll really come from? And this answer still seems impossible to figure out. While it is in Martin's possession, he clearly was not the one that made it, as he also doesn't make any of the other things that get sold or shown on this channel anyways. As a commenter on the thread said, which I agree with, it seems that the only possibility here is that this was made super locally by someone, and there weren't many of them at all. Perhaps only even 2 of them, since we have not seen a single other one at all pop up on the internet. Either that or Martin had 2 of them and was that man at the bar that sold it to the friend's dad. And well, that's all we can really say so far. As for the psychic stuff, there's nothing we can possibly say about all that, so we won't even bother. If any leads are found revolving more of these puppets showing up, please let us know. For now though, we will just continue on the dive. Moving on to our third post, it entails the mundane task of working at a retail store. I'm sure many of you guys can relate to being stuck at work late at night. drifting off into sleep, waiting for your chance to get the hell out of there. Personally, I know the feeling. The worst is when things start to feel a bit eerie and your brain starts to play tricks. But what if there aren't any tricks and the horror is truly in the building with you? Well, this is what the OP experienced. It's the closing shift at work. Our store, retail, stays open till 6, but our shitty boss makes us stay later if customers are shopping. I work the dressing room. As I'm walking to the giftware section, I see a customer in the shoe section. A tall woman with a thin face, long hair. Something immediately feels off. I ignore it, just waiting for her to pick out a pair of shoes and leave so we can close. 4 to 5 minutes passed. I leave for less than a minute to go help another customer. I go to check on the lady, she isn't there. Oh good, now we can close. Go up front, see that my coworkers are all talking. Hey, did that lady check out? All look at me weird. What lady? I describe her. Everyone says they haven't seen her leave. I go recheck the dressing room, shoes, giftware, she's nowhere to be found. I get this horrible, horrible feeling in my stomach. I'm scared shitless as I go to bring hangers to the back. Coworkers had already turned off all the front store lights, just waiting for me to come back. As I approach the horde of empty boxes we put hangers in, I see a pile of clothes on the floor. Check the tags. They are definitely not clothes we sell. Smelled horrible, like someone hadn't washed them in months. Decides to throw the clothes away despite knowing I shouldn't. I scope out the rest of the back despite not wanting to. Didn't find any customers hiding or signs someone came in through the back door. Tries to forget it. Goes up front, walks out with coworkers. Coworker goes to get in her car, lets out a huge gasp. There is a pile of bloody human shit right next to it. We all check it out, confirms it's definitely way too big to be dog shit. Looks closer. There's large chunks of glass and hair in it. Everyone is laughing, but I'm scared shitless. I don't say anything about the clothes I found. Still think about it every time I have to bring hangers to the back. Now, before this, I mentioned having that sense of dread in a quiet retail store after hours. Personally, I've never experienced something this terrifying, but I do have my fair share of odd experiences. 2 of the freakiest have got to be, one night while stocking, a completely undisturbed sugar pack just fell right off of the shelf. It sure startled me, but I kind of realized that those packs are often uneven and can fall for no reason at all. My other frightening experience was while working at the front, I noticed the same man come into the store multiple times, but each time he came in, he was wearing something completely different. About 5 or 6 times he came in on the same day and just looked a little different each time. I still have no idea if it was something supernatural, if I was losing my mind, or maybe the man was just really into fashion. It'd be impossible to know. Our 4th post takes us ghost hunting in a very quiet graveyard, where things just aren't quite right. Anyone ever encounter ghost breathing? I've dealt with it most of my life, and I literally cannot find anything on this phenomenon. Ghost hunters don't look for this shit. Nobody writes about it online. I'm assuming because it's just such a minor thing. When I used to stay in my old house and I'd be alone in my room, I swear I could hear breathing coming from somewhere in the room while I drifted off to sleep. Also, green text. Be me, edgy as fuck 19-year-old. 1 month till I ship off for boot camp, so spending my paychecks doing random shit that piques my interest. Decide I'm going ghost hunting by myself in a graveyard. Google haunted graveyard maps near me. Round Rock Cemetery. Bingo. Drive there a little before sunset. Wander around, read the plaques, take some pics. Pretty cool historical shit there. Dusk hits. Decide I should probably leave before dark in case the cops think I'm vandalizing the place. Walking back to my car. Hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Realize I can hear someone breathing behind me. Think it's just a tree rustling or brushing up against a little gazebo. Turn to verify said tree. As soon as I 180, breath comes from directly behind me, as if right in my ear. Absolutely nope the fuck out of there immediately. Go back with a friend a week or 2 later. Nothing happens. Any of you other Annans hear ghost breathing, or is this just me needing to take my meds? At the start of the video, I explained how green texts are 50-50 when it comes to being real or not. This is one I think is pretty much 99% real. Whether or not it really was a vengeful spirit would be impossible to confirm, but going into a seemingly haunted graveyard with the mindset to catch a poltergeist in the act would already set you up for a scare. The OP could have hyped himself up so much that he felt and heard what he wanted to hear. It's the same sort of phenomenon we talked about all the way back in Clinton Road. Psyching yourself out into hearing or seeing something is a very real thing. Whatever really happened, this story is beyond creepy. And who knows? It could have really been a ghost. And when you have ghosts, I mean, who could you really call? And on this edition, you're all quite lucky, because we have a bonus post. For our final post of the night, we have a poster who dared to ask the OP something extremely disturbing. Ask a guy who works at McDonald's anything. Where do you work? McDonald's. I still don't understand the inner workings of this man's mind to ask something so absolutely terrifying. Some people think they deserve answers, but sometimes that answer may not be what they want to hear. And that brings us to the end of our 9th 4chan deep dive. You guys really enjoy these videos, and we really enjoy making them too. As for this edition, there definitely were more green text than usual, and this was due to a couple of different reasons. But regardless of all that, we'd really appreciate you all sharing some of your own creepiest finds on 4chan you have to offer, as we might just feature them in the future. We've also thought about doing deep dives on other platforms in the future. If we do that, what would you guys suggest? If the answers are overwhelmingly, stay with 4chan, then that's exactly what we'll do. But we want to hear some feedback and opinions about this idea, and what other social media you all would like to see us explore and deep dive into. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, make sure to like this video and comment down below and send us some of the 4chan stuff you've got. All of our social medias and links are in the description below, and if you'd like to help out the channel, please consider donating to our Patreon. Only a $1 a month and you get access to everything on Debunk Plus. We have podcasts, early stuff, all that kind of stuff. As always, my name is Sep from Debunk File. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.